Hello, or global warming to everyone. Um, yes, firstly, of course, the world is just like it was last week and week before and last month and so on. Uh, um, the Turkish president Erdogan gets crazier by day. Uh, the U.S. Democratic Party gets less democratic by day, and the so-called terrorists keep on terrorizing. Uh, my condolences to all the victims of terror attacks in Turkey, to Egypt, to France. But then, of course, you have just structural and leadership problems, and not just being terribly sorry to all Brazilians for what is about to befall them. One is, of course, heartbroken with for all the people in Venezuela, for all the badly treated migrant workers in Bangladesh, or everywhere at that part of the world. Um, you know, one is just so sorry. It's all so futile, and it seems so strange that since it is so futile, that it still exists at this point in time. And again, one has to point out that time is just our concept here on planet Earth, and our measurement. It is nothing. In a sense, it's our invention. Uh, but anyway, my rant at this point, it has to be about matters concerning racism, because whatever I'm going to rant, or in a way something that I've ranted before, it all boils down to, is one racist and what is racism and so on. And I have to say, because it is, of course, since it is such an important subject, or anything uh, of its nature, it is always talked about. It is something very important, and and I have to, as a personally, to say that I don't really understand uh, what it is nowadays. I I feel that it has been, taken, and it is misused continuously, and you start to have everything. You start to have cultural racism, and you start to have this racism and that racism, and ideological racism and so on. So it's been spoiled. As far as I understand, racism, the actual idea, it comes, it's from long time ago, and it's the actual idea that we humans, even though, again, I don't really understand it. We are the same race, of the same race, but that we wouldn't. That would be the original idea. That somebody who is whatever, who has a yellow skin tone, or a dark skin tone, is not of the same race that the one who has a pink skin tone. It's to me, it is absolutely insane, and I understand that it wasn't a long time ago, and as far as I understand, it wasn't to Rene Descartes. It wasn't, of obviously just totally flawed. I mean, you look at a human being, and you look at any other animal on the planet, and you can see that we're of the same race. And the biological, the scientific term for race has, for as long as I know, has been that, that somebody who can have offspring that can reproduce with a member, or with someone else, those two are of the same race, and that's how race is defined. So what the bloody, now I didn't actually know how racism worked before I got to study in the United States. And to all United Statians, you are stupid, all right? And it was crazy. So to get that out of the way, that it is, as racism, when it exists, for example, in so many southern states and towns in the United States, for example, it is pure insanity. It has no connection to sanity, reality, to anything that actually, again, can be measured or reproduced. But then it's the other argument, and this is the other part of my rant today, which is then that it is taken everywhere. That you have this sort of crazy traditional racism where somebody who has a darker skin tone, that they're somehow different and not of the same quality as somebody with a pink skin. This complete madness. The other end of it is like that there wouldn't be any difference between us human beings, our different countries, different areas, different cultures. Somehow, in a way, race and culture have been mixed, on the other side. Because, I mean, again, and I don't know, I've heard all sorts of complicated expressions of it. But let's say, you take the word racism and you take, and one molds, I have no idea whether this word actually exists. I doubt not. But I'm going to use the word culturalism. Because while I'm not a racist, and again, I cannot understand how anyone could be a racist. It is, or how someone can be. It is completely cockadoodie. I am a culturalist, without a question. I think that there is a, how to say it, a cultural difference, between ideas, customs, behavior, manners, that there is a difference between different parts of the world, and sometimes within a country, and sometimes, because of racism, between different skin tones. And that you have to be able to make that distinction, the distinction between cultures. And the only way that there can be something reprehensible in that, in saying, for example, whatever, that I don't know, that the Icelandic people are cool, and that that Arabs are crazy, or something like that. To say something like that, it can only be racist if you think of yourself as somehow bitter, and if you think that there is uh, that there is that something is definitely worse than something else, and that it should be changed, and some culture also should be eradicated from the face of the earth. Only then can it be wrong, and otherwise it's just saying something. It's just saying, those Germans or crazy Americans. uh it's just, and you cannot live without uh making judgments. And again, it's a very different thing, for example, from racism. If you're gonna describe someone and you're gonna say that they're let's say they're black, okay, well, if that's a way to describe them, then that cannot be racism. It's just, your skin tone is in a way is a commodity. It's a feature, like the color of your eyes or the color or lack of your hair, whatever, or your size. It's not racism. It's a way of describing something, and in the same way, to describe that this is part of whatever Latin culture, and this is part of Persian culture, and so on. It's a way of describing something, and to try and get away from that would be absolutely insane, because people say that you shouldn't pick and you shouldn't place people and things into different lockers. I'm sorry, but you are going to. That's the way you start as a baby. When you start to learn things, you have to put things into certain place, and you have to pick. Otherwise, you're gonna be a vegetable for your entire lifetime. So you have to pick and choose and make decisions and group things. It's automatic, and it's absolutely insane. Again, as insane as imagining that there are that humans are of different race. As insane as that is to imagine that you can be completely neutral, and you cannot, you cannot place that you cannot group things. It isn't going to work. But again, after that, I personally, let's say I'm from the Finnish culture, even though I don't feel like it at all. I don't feel part of any culture particularly. But, let's say the Finnish culture, the Ugric culture, whatever you want to say, Scandinavian culture. I mean, Finland is like half and half or something. Go ahead, But I mean, I don't love the Finnish culture in any way. I don't. I think that the fact that everything is so well for some of us here, it's in a way an accident. The Finnish culture. I mean, different roles for different genders are way too pronounced. Finnish people are terribly unsocial, in my opinion. The Finnish culture is very unsocial, very unempathic, in my opinion. And even during my lifetime, during my early lifetime, it was way too Lutheran. To me, all Finnish food and most of Finnish art is complete and utter crap, horror. So I mean, again, I'm not placing myself or the Finnish culture above any other culture. And I wouldn't dream of taking any other culture from anywhere in the world and to say that culture should be completely eradicated. So the fact that I say that I'm a culturalist, I don't know any nicer or any funnier word. I feel that is not in any way reprehensible, and I have to point out, for all my future rants, that I don't think that it has anything to do with racism, and that most of the time, even the blame of racism is absolutely insane, because to believe it, you have to be